are you doing today?
I'm great. How's it going?
I'm great.
Awesome.
How have you been? Why you look so fresh?
Yeah, well, the Lord has been good to me. The Lord has been good to me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Tell me, when was the last time you were actually on the scene? And I'm only asking this because I'm a little bit out of touch with that. Because I also went through my own little stuff, and then I kind of moved away from social media. Didn't really know what was happening. So when was the last time that people actually probably heard of you or saw you as Slammer? Because that's how a lot of people actually know you.
Yeah.
Slammer, the rapper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the last time I'd say it was probably 2018, 19 there.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018, 2019. So 2019, because 2019 was the time that I actually joined the local church. In other words, a Bible study that I was part of.
Okay.
And that's where my life changed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, because now you are, how do I phrase this? You are completely reborn right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know. It's just something about your aura and wifey's aura right now that I'm really loving. But so you basically went through somewhat of a major transformation because, and I say major because it's not the easiest thing for a lot of people to not necessarily gravitate to, but a lot of people to answer that call. Because sometimes we know that the call is upon our lives, obviously, but then we just literally run away from it because of the responsibility that comes with it, dying of your old self, the sacrifices and so forth, right? So how did the transformation go about for you?
It took years before I could actually answer that call. Just like you put it right there, you run. You're trying to run away from it. You're trying to act like, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not really
It's
for me.
for
Maybe
me, yes.
and you're trying to like as if it's a tick you can get rid of. You're trying to get rid of that call because you're like, man, everything that comes with it. And then you look at your life and you're like, hey, you know what? I got this plan. I want to do this. I want to do that. And you feel you're so in control of your life. And now here you have God calling, and here you have the Bible coming in, and here you have Jesus saying like, hey, you have to deny yourself and take up your cross and follow me. And you look at the path he went, and you're like, whoa, that's a little bit too much.
That's
right
a little
now.
bit too much. Yes.
So you're like, whoa, I don't know if I can really, I don't know if I'm ready to do that.
Yeah.
But deep down inside you want to do that. But at the same time, you're like, with the influences in the world and what the world offers one, you're like, man, I know I can do this. I have potential.
Momentary gratification definitely keeps us from that.
Yeah, and even talking about that, even how people can put it when it comes to giving your life to Christ. They try to make it sound like God takes away from you your potential. God, sort of you become less of a person. And I get it. There is a certain truth in that as well. You lessen yourself so that Christ can do more, can take over, and that makes sense. But at the same time, there's a whole lot more you can gain, from that perspective as well. From a biblical point of view. So, man, it's just deep. You just need a lot of studying, a lot of growth, understanding, to actually come to a point where you can start seeing the positive side of dying to oneself and taking up your cross and looking at everything you can gain from that point on. So that's deep.
True, and really serving His kingdom here. I mean, that's what we're really here for. I mean, a lot of us, it's not that we don't know it. A lot of us, like you're saying, we're just really scared to actually take that step. So what I want to know from you right now, what was the defining moment for you? And I say this because, as I shared with you off air, I have been born again before. I've backslided, and I will own my truth. You know what I mean? So I know in those moments how it's just something that just takes over. It's so unexplainable. But what I want to know is just in the time of your life where you were, what would you say would be the defining moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to answer this call, and I'm going to die to my old self and really take this path to actually just, lead His kingdom?
Yo, that's a deep one, That's a deep question because, truth is, it's been a couple of, instances, it's been several moments that really, because you get one moment and you're like, can I do it? And you want to do it. And then you're like, maybe not that. And then you try to skip that, and then boom, you get yourself in a situation where you get that moment again, and you're like, and that comes back to your mind, and you're like, man, you know,
Yeah.
this is a call, you know. And so with me, well, if I can remember, first of all, you know, it started off with my grandma.
Okay.
And the way she brought me up, you know, I was on the Rooted show, TV show, like on NBC the other time, where we were just basically talking about that being rooted.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just sort of reminded me of that, and we were talking about, you know, your background can also play a part.
Absolutely.
Of with God, you know, like how you were brought up is very important too, because you know, if you're one of your, like my grandma, she was very, you know, Bible principled. In other words.
Yeah.
And so she was very strict, like you know, Sunday you had to go to church, otherwise you don't get your Sunday plate.
Come on.
You know? she was really, it was that bad. You know, like you don't get your Sunday plate. You go to church. Otherwise you work all day, the whole day, Sunday.
To earn that plate.
You don't even get the plate if you don't go to church. You gotta go to church Sunday. So I was like, whoa. So we were all like, okay, Sunday we're going to church, because you know the kitchen is very busy and it smells real good when you know when it's ready, when the supper is ready. So Sunday was like, yo, Sunday plate. I gotta get my Sunday plate. So nobody can go to church for you. You gotta get up and go to church.
True.
You know, to get that plate.
Yeah.
So it started off with that, you know, basic little, you know, that kind of a teaching, that kind of a way of you know. And so from that point on, there was this one time that, you know, I was basically I OD, okay, not OD, but I overdosed, if I can put it that way, you know. So I did a lot of mandrakes, you know, and I just got so ill. I got so sick that you know, and that was before I even became, you know, slammer. You know, that was when I was still later on I started hanging out with the wrong friends, you know, doing the wrong things.
Yes.
And so I was into drugs, you know, and alcohol. Yeah. And this one time I really did so much drugs that I ended up getting ill and I almost died. So 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I couldn't, you know, say a thing. I couldn't, you know, do anything but just look as I was laying in bed. And so my grandma, you know, called my mom over, and they were sort of like praying and taking care of me and all that stuff. And I could just, you know, just appreciate them from by just looking at them, seeing what they were doing. And anyway, so long story short, I survived the blow, you know.
Yes.
But how I survived the blow was that was deep. Yeah. Because I remember this one time I was laying in bed and I felt my breath was, you know, about to go. So I felt like I was about to take my last breath.
In that, from that situation?
From that
during that time? Okay.
That situation.
Yes.
So I was laying in bed one time in the afternoon, about 3 p.m. Yeah, and so I was laying in bed and I just felt like, hey, because all I was doing was struggling to breathe at that point. For like 2 weeks straight. It was like I was in the ICU, but I wasn't in the ICU. I was in the ICU at home. Do you understand what I'm saying? So so I was really just struggling to breathe the whole time, and then I could feel my breath really. I can't do this anymore, you know. And so at that point, I just felt like I was about to take my last breath. And so at that point, when I felt like that, I just kind of thought, man, maybe I should call out. Maybe I should call out to God. Yes. And so
to save me in this moment.
To save me in this moment, because what if this could be my last breath? That just kind of, you know, and that just kind of got to me there. So I thought I should call Jesus, and so I just called out Jesus, you know, like save me. You know, that's what I said. Nobody was around; it was just me. And so I just kind of felt like I just, you know, had this strength. You know, I just got up. You know, I wasn't Superman or anything, but I just sort of, you know, regained strength. Like I can't really explain it. I just regained strength, and I just got up, and I just thought to myself, man, what just happened? You know,
the power of His name.
Yeah, and so from that point on, I realized, like, hey, there's something out there. God, there's gotta be something out there. You know, that was just a little sense. And so that was one of those moments that we're talking about here. And then later on, fast forward, I was in the music industry, and you know, I just felt like, you know, my grandma died 2000, and and that was 2007 December when
Okay.
when that happened.
Yeah.
And so 2008,
Yeah.
my grandma passed on, and she gave me, because right after that incident, you know, when I got well, she handed me my first Bible ever. So she gave me a Bible, and she's like, yeah, she was like, you know, take this book, read this book. That's what she said. You know, take this book, read this book. So I just kind of glanced at it. I just looked at it. I was like, all right, you know. But obviously, I never read it. You know, until.
I hear you though.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's sometimes when, yes, people can say or tell you to do things, but honestly, if you are not ready to receive it, honestly,
it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. So I just like thought like, okay, you know, thanks, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. But I didn't really, you know, I didn't read it until, you know, my grandma passed on, and many years, and you know, 2008, my grandma passed on, and I never thought she could die. You know, she was just too strong of a woman. You know, like she was very strong. My grandma, my mom, you know, my grandma, and so after she died, and the day that she died was actually the day that I got my first official music video, because she used to tell me like, hey, you know, when am I gonna see you on TV? When are we gonna see you on TV? When are you gonna do your music on TV?
Your music,
you know, like professionally as the other professional artists out there. Why are you just music on the streets? And you know, and this is because she didn't want me to, you know, keep hanging out on the streets, because you know I was always, you know, in situations where I would probably get stabbed or you know, and stuff like that. So she was scared.
But have you been stabbed on the streets before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been. So. And so at that point, she was like, "Well, okay, I might just die." You know, she was afraid that I could just lose my life on the streets, like, because I was living in a very dangerous time, in a dangerous location, Malakadrai, and stuff. You know, so and all my friends, you know, at that time was dying, and ending up in prison, and so forth. And so at that point, she was like, really trying to encourage me to do music. And so I was like, I'm gonna do it, and all that stuff, because I was always, you know, rapping, freestyling, late night, every night, you know, at the back, in the backyard, at my grandma's backyard. Later on, fast forward, after she died, the day she died was actually the day I got my first video. Because I promised her, because she was in the hospital. And I said that, Grandma, I promise that before you die,
I will get this done.
I will get this done. And so the day I get this call, you know, that morning I was at the College of the Arts, and I was with two of my friends, and we were, you know, about to take a, spliff. Before, because we were studying music production. So and so before every time in the morning we try to, you know, hit it, take a hit or so, and you know, so we can just kind of feel the class and all that kind of stuff, you know. Just, and I just, for some point, you know, for some reason I just felt like, you know, we should pray, and they was like, what, pray? That was the weirdest thing ever. So they were like, wait, are you serious, man? I was like, no, we need to pray right now. So they was like, okay. And so we put the blunt away, and so we were like, okay, we're gonna pray now. So I prayed, and for some reason I prayed for my grandma's soul. You know, may God, you know, bless her soul, be with her and stuff like that, be with her soul. And right after that prayer, that was about 8 o'clock in the morning. And right after that prayer, I get this phone call from my from my stepdad at the time, Uncle Charles. He calls me right after that, and he says, no. Right after that prayer, I get a call from my videographer. He tells me, yo,
the video's ready.
Slammer, the video's ready. You can finally show it to your grandma. And I was like, whoa, and I was so happy. He's like, you can come through anytime. He'll be at home. I just can pick it up and then have it. So I was like, cool. So right after that call, I get, you know, a call from Uncle Charles, and that was Slow who called me, my first videographer. You know, and so then I get Uncle Charles is like, Jeffrey, what are you doing right now? It's like, I'm at the, you know, school. So it's like, well, you need to drop everything you're doing. You need to come over at your grandma's house. And I was like, nah, I don't think so, because I have to, you know, I'm at school. I'm very busy right now. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to go get my video now.
Exactly.
I was too excited. And so he was like, nah, you need to leave everything, drop everything you're doing, just come, you know, come to your grandma's house.
Come home,
Come home. I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. He's like, no, come home now.
Right now.
And I was like, what is it? And I just kind of thought to myself, like, here we go again. Another family drama, a little family feud.
It's probably, okay, we'll quickly have to pay some bills, but probably in that moment you thought to yourself, are they having a family intervention for me? Did they ever have this for you? You probably thought that they did something.
I actually thought it was a family feud. Like, they're probably arguing and I should come play the judge, that kind of thing.
Mediate, right? Okay, so we'll quickly just pay the bills and we'll definitely continue with this conversation. Just keep it locked right here on Fresh.
So you didn't choose to do this personal?